Hey guys, Pat here. Do we really need a new Terminator movie? The answer is maybe. No. The answer is no. Here's the thing. What I'm about to say doesn't need to be said because people have been saying it for years now. James Cameron wrapped up the Terminator franchise perfectly fine with T2. There was a true sense of closure with that film, and we never really demanded more outside of maybe the hopes of seeing the future war in more detail. Let's go to the 2000s now. And we get Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Oh, what a clever 2000s title that was. Arnold comes back, but no James Cameron. The film almost plays like a parody of the franchise, and it's a soft remake of the second film. But it's kind of fun in a B-movie way, if you don't take it so seriously. The film performed alright, but it cost so much to make, the studio really didn't bring in huge profits like they expected. I mean, all the estimates were saying a lot more than the movie ended up doing. We then get Terminator Salvation, the fourth film. The film that finally shows us the war against the machines with the purple laser guns we saw from the James Cameron movies. Oh wait, no, they're just using regular guns like we have now. Oh, that's interesting. The film turned out to be a critical and financial flop. Many fans found the performances, scripting, pacing to be all over the place, and the movie itself a rather uneventful affair, which I can absolutely agree with. Salvation was a movie I went into the theater like, well, I don't like McG, I don't really like the trailers, but this could be a good film. Christian Bale's in it. He was on kind of a hot streak at that point. He was in a bunch of really interesting movies. Until I saw his performance, John Connor. But, yeah, very, very bad movie. It has like a decent 15 minutes, and it's like, oh my god, this is just a bag full of cliches. And they spoil the biggest plot twist in the movie in the marketing, which I just don't know why they did that, to be honest. Then we got Terminator Genesis. Genesis. A film Cameron himself told us was great and starred the Mother of Dragons herself, yeah. And that guy from Suicide Squad and Arnold as an old man Terminator. Wait, was that a real thing? Well then. Alright. I mean, James Cameron wouldn't have lied to us, right? This movie did do very well overseas, but it couldn't even break $100 million domestically with Arnold back and a big marketing push. The movie tries to work as some kind of reboot and sequel that changes the events of the previous films. They also decided to make John Connor the bad guy in this one. Wait, what? Was that a real thing? Ugh, jeez. Now we are getting a new Terminator film, directed by Tim Miller, the guy who gave us the first Deadpool flick. Cameron is on as a producer, and the movie is supposed to play like a new version of Terminator 3, one that sticks closer to the originals and doesn't kill off Sarah Connor. And she was killed off camera, too. So the news is out that Linda Hamilton is returning to her iconic role, and this is actually the coolest thing about this. Linda Hamilton can still act, and she was easily one of the best parts of the first two films, but this aspect alone doesn't win me over to another Terminator flick. I know, wait until the movie comes out until you judge it. And while that's a fair point, it doesn't mean I can't talk about the redundant nature of this franchise, how redundant it's all gotten. It's clear domestic audiences really don't care about this stuff anymore. It's also weird how nobody seems capable of letting go of it, like they won't let it die. They won't let a good thing die, basically. Like, we didn't need Terminator sequels. We didn't need Terminator reboots. We don't need to see old Sarah Connor. Like I said, Terminator 2 wrapped everything up pretty tightly. And I mean, maybe you did want to see more. But if you're just looking at the box office, I don't see the demand there for Terminator films. It's not like people are running to go see Terminator films, in America at least, but I guess maybe the international box office is enough for them to warrant doing this. This is another case of something that was better left alone. As all I've ever gotten from the Terminator films after 2 is a bunch of directors trying to be James Cameron and never finding their own take on the material. Even the ones that try to do something new end up feeling like rip-offs of some other popular movie. The acting ranges from mediocre to bad. The scripts never find an ounce of real charm, and everything feels profoundly cliche. Like it's just some of the most cliche sequels I've ever seen to a very unique franchise that kicked off really well. What made the original film so powerful and the sequel was that one filmmaker found a way to really connect us with the journey of Sarah Connor. We cared about her struggle because she felt like a real person. She felt like a real person in this epic situation. Her transformation was organic, and we transformed with her. The battle to save humanity is not only visceral, but one filled with hope. The plan now is to cast some new 18-year-old female as the lead, which sounds way too familiar to the original flick for my taste. No information is out how Sarah is going to be connected to any of this, or what will happen with John Connor. They said they wanted this to be the first in a new trilogy, because every film nowadays has to be the first in a new trilogy. Tim Miller is a fine director, and I'm sure everyone involved in this has the best intentions. But I'm not sure why we need this flick. To me, it sounds like they're just going for nostalgia a la The Force Awakens or Jurassic World. A film that is driven by influence and tries to remind us, of some kind of flick we were obsessed over as a child, that feeling we had as a kid when we fell in love with these films. Nostalgia as a theme in Star Wars makes a lot of sense, I think. But in Terminator, I don't really want to be reminded of the depressing world that James Cameron showed us. Going back there has to feel earned on some level. Something that makes us feel like the stakes are even higher now, and maybe that we only got half of the story before. Can David Goyer pull this off? He's writing the screenplay. The answer is maybe. No. No, the answer is no. David Goyer can't do that. Linda getting work on a major film again is pretty awesome, though. But old Sarah Connor still fighting the machines comes off like some fan film that a YouTuber would have made. Sure, it'd be a fun short film to watch, directed by Tim Miller, and put it online. I'd watch it, old Sarah Connor. But an entire movie around this, and some new leads, sounds like the meetings of another, the makings actually, not the meetings, the makings of another movie that doesn't pass 100 million in the domestic box office. What's really upsetting here is how much Cameron doesn't seem to give a damn. He is busy working on 12 Avatar sequels that are never coming out. He handed off his dream project of Battle Angel to Robert Rodriguez. Instead of getting the awesome Battle Angel movie that only Jim Cameron could have made, we are getting Terminator 6. We're going back to the planet of blue cat people that had tree sex with their hair. Wait, was that a real thing? Just screw it. Has Jim sold out? Is this the George Lucas time to enjoy all the money he gets from just existing? On some level, sure. But maybe Cameron and Miller really do have a great take on the third flick, and maybe it will feel like an organic step after Terminator 2. Sure, it's a cliche at this point to complain about remakes, reboots, pointless sequels, and obvious cash grabs. But with the 2017 summer box office being so low, you have to wonder if Hollywood is catching on to the burnout. People can't go see all these blockbustery films that start coming out every month now, beginning with January. There's only so much money to be spent. People have families and can watch stuff on Netflix now. To get them out of the house, you got to make something really special, or at least something with mass appeal, like a horror film with an evil clown in it. Maybe if the Terminators added an evil clown to this movie, like if it was, a Terminator clown, this film would probably make $1 billion. So that's my advice to the filmmakers. That's the best piece of advice I can give. Add a Terminator clown, an evil clown character. I think there is more than enough proof to show audiences are just done with this franchise. And like the Alien franchise, it's only a matter of time before the box office returns get embarrassing for everyone involved. So does this mean the movie will suck? Of course not. And if it's great, I will have no problem saying I was wrong about this in my review of it. However, that doesn't mean the movie will perform well, and I think the marketing team has a hell of a job on their hands here. Now let's get the question that we've all been asking this whole video. The one that's been eating us all up inside, the one that we ask ourselves every week when we talk about the Terminator. Is Eddie Furlong coming back? Now that would be a movie I would pay to see multiple times in the theater. Just give him whatever drugs he wants, turn the camera on, and let the little bastard go. So, are you guys excited about Terminator 6? I guess let me know in the comments. I really can't see a positive spin on this. I don't see... Unless you're just a fanatical fanboy and you love Deadpool so much you think Tim Miller is going to come out and be a genius. Even if it is a fun, entertaining movie, that doesn't mean it won't feel pointless. That's the biggest issue with this film, is that you have a big weight on your shoulders to make this not seem like another pointless movie or just a cash grab. Even if, like I said, even if it's a good flick, it's going to have that feeling about it. It's going to have that air about it. It's awesome Linda Hamilton's back. I hope that the screenplay by David Goyer and a couple other guys is actually decent. I'm sure the action will be good because Tim Miller actually has a pretty decent eye for action. I didn't think he did the greatest job of directing dialogue scenes with his camera work and stuff, so that'll be interesting to see what he'll do with a bigger budget. But I don't have much to say on this. I'm not excited. I didn't really want this. I was hoping after Genesis didn't do so well that they would just stop making Terminator movies and realize that the idea was only really only good for one or two movies. I can't think of how you could even make a bunch of movies unless you did the Future War, which Mick G screwed up. So anyway, so like and subscribe. And guys, please rewind your VHS tapes before you bring them back to the store. I don't want to have to do it, but, you know, whatever. Bring back your copy of Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, and don't rewind it. Also, that film did come out on VHS, by the way. I watched a copy of that movie on VHS back in the day when they still made those.